I'm happy to admit that I watched this game with envy and would have readily exchanged my silver medal of the championship for the right to sign the score sheet, the white half of course, Mikhail Tal. Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you that same game which Mikhail Tal watched with envy. On the white side is Soviet chess grandmaster Ratmir Kholmov and his opponent is Estonian chess grandmaster Paul Keres. The game was played in 1959 at the USSR Championship. Kholmov opened up with e4, to which Keres responded with Sicilian defense c5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. Nezhmetdinov-Rossolimo attack is on the board. Knight f6 e5, knight g4. Knight d5 is considered to be more popular, but in the game we see knight g4. Here comes bishop takes c6, and after black recaptured, white castled kingside. g6, rook e1, bishop g7, and Kholmov harassed black knight further by playing h3, knight h6, knight c3, b6. Well, according to modern theory, knight f5 or castling kingside are considered to be more popular choices, but in the game we see b6, which is also a decent continuation. d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and c5, which steps into a beautiful combination. Instead, it was better to play knight f5. And in the end of the day, actually, white can win back the sacrificed pawn. And then bishop d7, and now if you move your knight, then bishop takes e5 can follow, but queen c7 or bishop b7 are also moves which are worth of taking into consideration. Instead, in our game we have c5, and now let's see what's the problem with it. Knight c6. Here is how Yakov Damsky comments on this move. And when white's next move was announced in the press center, we decided that the impregnable Ratmir Kholmov, the central defender as he was then called, had for a moment taken leave of his senses. Right now black queen is under attack and queen d7 was played, but let's take a look. What if, for example, queen takes d1? Then after rook takes d1, white is creating a mating threat. If you castle kingside, then knight takes e7 can follow, or if a move like bishop b7, then this time knight d5 can be very unpleasant. Now if bishop takes c6, then knight c7 check followed by knight takes a8. You can't even recapture because of the mating threat. Or after knight d5, if you castle kingside, then knight takes e7 can follow, and then after the exchange on h6, white can play rook d6, and with an extra pawn and a dominating position, white has great winning chances. In our game after knight c6 we see queen d7, and as we have reached the critical position, please pause the video and try to find white's next move. Ready? In here we see the logical continuation of knight c6, and Kholmov went for a piece sacrifice, knight takes e7. With this move he is stopping black king from castling and is forcing that king to remain in the center, thus making it an easy target. By the way, I have to tell you that if queen c7, then even in this case knight takes e7 is playable. But in the game we see queen d7, and now let's see what's going to happen next. King takes e7, black recaptured with the king, but even if queen takes e7, then again this won't help black. Knight d5 can follow. If queen d7, then knight f6 check, and then he takes f6 discover check followed by bishop takes h6. To be honest, in here there is even a beautiful queen d6 sacrifice. Bishop takes h6 is of course also winning, is allowing white to announce a checkmate in 6, but I'm preferring a queen sacrifice. Or after knight d5, if a move like queen d8, then anyways knight f6 check, and then queen f3 hitting on a8. If bishop e6, then bishop g5. Right now knight h5 can be a very unpleasant threat, and if king f8, then knight d7 check. If here, then queen takes a8, the game is over. In our game we see king takes e7 and bishop takes h6. Here is what Damsky writes. A paradoxical decision. The bishop, which was predestined for an attack along the weakened dark squares, is exchanged for the offside knight. And then Mikhail Tal adds, But on the other hand, a major attacking principle is maintained: the tempo. The time that we don't have is more precious than the piece we do have. Black recaptured with a bishop, and we have queen f3. So by luring away black bishop, white gained a precious tempo, and now by playing queen f3, white is both threatening queen f6 check, and also is connecting his rooks. Bishop g7, knight d5 check. Well, capturing the rook is not really good. In this case, black can neutralize white's attack. Instead, we see knight d5 check, king d8, and rook d1. Black's position is totally lost. Bishop b7 and queen b3, unpinning the knight. Bishop c6, and there it goes, knight takes b6. Knight takes b6, queen takes f7. While black queen is pinned, white is starting to munch black pawns. Bishop takes e5. Well, if we move like bishop h6, then rook takes d7 can follow, and then rook d1. The game is over. In our game, after queen takes f7, we see bishop takes e5 and rook takes d7 check. Bishop takes d7, rook takes e5. Victory is just a matter of moves. King c7, rook e7, rook d8, and a4. This time, by pushing forward the a pawn, white wants to weaken black's queen side further. g5, queen d5. Against two pawns and a queen, black has a rook and a bishop, which is of course not enough. Moreover, black king is vulnerable, and now let's see how Ratmir Kholmov finished up his opponent. Rook takes h7, g4, and a5. G takes h3, a takes b6 check, king takes b6, rook d7, and Keres resigns. A very impressive attacking game by Ratmir Kholmov, which I hope that you enjoyed greatly. In the end, a chess puzzle for you, where the task is to find the winning line for white. It's white to move, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.